I'm the one that wants to talk about it. I'm the one that wants to have one more thing to say. I'm the one that wants to know why you don't have anything to say. Like, you mean to tell me we're bickering right now and you don't have shit to say about, like...
What it is, what it ain't, what it do, what it don't. Welcome back. I missed y'all. Official Doodads podcast.
We missed you.
Missed you, bro. If you haven't, like and subscribe. Go check us out. Official Doodads podcast, YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. Man, yeah, was at the beach, and I'm not upset about it.
Looking super tan.
I mean, mild.
Did I ever tell you the story about when we were at the beach last year and my two brothers?
Does this involve sharks?
Yeah. Have I talked about this before?
I should have just seen how far you would go.
I would have retold the whole thing.
Dude, I wanted to say, though, Spanx for, handling the gig while I was gone.
Absolutely.
But also, and I we talked about this earlier. Thanks for having Rick on. Solid
dude.
guy.
Really good. Really.
There was
good
a lot of content, especially childhood stuff. In a lot of ways, there was a lot of stuff that I was going, yeah, me and Rick could have gone bowling.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing.
Yep.
And I liked his take on talking about having the girls and not wanting them to be bullied or to bully.
That was my favorite part.
Oh, dude, the whole thing about, because that's right. That's my little soundbite, right? Self-awareness, but it's true. It's I want, and my son too, but I look at Aubrey all the time and I'm I know it's right up in my, I'm am I in there? Hello.
I just noticed that I don't know if I'm just a soft-spoken man or if I don't talk into the microphone enough, but
I think one of my problems is that I've gotten so comfortable now because the first episode ever, I was like, "Hi, I'm Carl," but now I'm so
just chilling.
I get far away.
Samesies.
But no, man, it is. I know it's my little sound piece, but the way he talked about his girls, especially, and just that whole thing. Not diving in too deep to his story, but the way, with his mom and some of the stuff he saw and how what he really wanted for his daughters, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I just, man, powerful.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, Rick's a good dude, man. He, it was kind of just a last minute, not last minute, but just what are you doing Tuesday night? You want to come shoot the shit? Talk about being a dad. Because he is, I said it on there, but.
He's got 12 kids.
Yeah, he's got a lot of them, and he's got them at all angles and all shapes, sizes, ages.
Apparently, he's had a 4-year-old for 25 years.
A long time. Just
when he said that and I was listening, I was like, oh, Jesus.
Right.
Oh,
I know.
How do you look so good, sir?
Well, I mean, I
would imagine you'd be pretty haggard looking,
Right. That's the Choctaw in him, and I don't know if it's Choctaw, so pardon my naivety or ignorance. But no, man, Rick's a good dude. I've always looked up to him just as a friend, as a man, as a dad. He's funny because, he'll come by the house and Julia's, Uncle Rick, 900 things to say, and he's like, yeah, hell yeah, rock on. But he actually put her onto this chapstick, this flavored chapstick. It's it's s'mores chapstick, and it's a 3-pack: chocolate, graham cracker, and marshmallow. And I just outed Rick and his chapstick flavors, but whatever. Thank you for coming, Mr. Morton. It's much obliged.
What exactly s'more chapstick?
Well, it's when you don't have enough and your lips are still chapped, you need some more of it.
How do people like flavored chapsticks? I always think I would just start eating it.
That's what I did in middle school. We used to have competitions because all the girls would get flavored chapstick from Spencer's or Hot Topic or whatever and bring them, and we'd have a competition to see who could eat the most of the flavored chapstick. I remember getting disgustingly sick off of eating 7/8 of a Dr. Pepper chapstick.
So I'm gonna just tell you right now, like everything that I think I knew about you has been rearranged, and now everything makes sense. I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm not a.
There it is. The blockbuster moment that had turned Brandon's life.
Episode 25. We finally figured it out. He ate chapstick. It's okay. At least I wasn't eating Carmex.
I want to say also, Damon, if you ever listen to this, which I hope you do because I love you, my nephew, my oldest nephew, who's actually getting married. He proposed.
Congrats,
popped the
big
question.
guy. Congratulations.
He texted
It's all
me.
downhill from here.
Oh, come on now. He lives in San Fran. He lives in San Fran. And, dude, I'm getting a weird amount of recommended news about LSU football recruits and awards. Is this a year or something? The fact that – so I took my nephew to the spring game at a very pivotal point. Anyways, long story. We had a thing, and you know, it was again. I didn't have a son until 4 years ago. You know, I didn't have like a little brother.
Right.
So I really did latch on to my nephew in a lot of ways, and wanted to see him do well. And always was. It was funny because my sister. It was very much like I was always that. I wanted to be that uncle, right? Like, look, well, not just like, look. You don't ever have to talk about it. You don't ever have to tell me why or whatever, but if you don't want to call mom or dad,
call me.
But you need to call, like...
You can smoke cigarettes in my house as long as I don't ever see it.
I mean, you know, maybe not really, but kind of, sort of,
hypothetically.
Uncle Buck kind of, you know, like... But, yeah, man, and just him texting me right there, like, out of nowhere, just I'm like, oh,
that's
my guy,
cool.
My guy.
I wonder which one of my siblings is going to have churn first. I think I know which one, but who knows? I don't.
Well, it's crazy, like, when you have a sibling that's so much older than you.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause that's the thing. Like,
how old is he? If he's old enough to be popping the question.
Oh, well, yeah.
In his 20s?
He's, let's see, 90.
Great decade.
He's 30.
Oh, shit, he's my age.
That's what I'm saying. Like, me and my nephew grew up together.
Yeah, seriously.
In a lot of ways.
That's pretty cool,
it really was. It was kind of like having a little brother.
Yeah, for sure.
I was 14, you know, 13 or 14. And then his sister, the oldest of his two younger siblings, my niece, she was 13 months later. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, man.
Damon.
You know, something I wanted to talk about, and I was like sitting here the whole time. I was like, I don't know, whatever. Because it's kind of like a personal thing, and it's something that I recently, I guess, had to navigate or whatever. But it also made me look at the world, you know, because I try to do that immediately. Like if there's ever a situation in my life, change of a job, whatever, you know, it automatically makes me zoom out a little bit and kind of look and see what's important. Like, what am I really, you know, me and a buddy have a falling out. What am I really upset about? What's really going, you know? And I've, over the last, I guess, it'd be, it'd probably be about 9-10 months now. About 9 months. A buddy of mine, kind of he just ghosted, just stopped talking to me. Didn't know why. A lot of mutual friends. You know, a lot of, and you know, that's how it is. Like whenever there's a problem or whatever, and people don't want to, you know, it's like, oh, I don't know, man. You know, hopefully he'll talk to you one day. I'm like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Because he's somebody that I've had 20 plus years of history with, and he was in my wedding. Like he's somebody that I love and consider to be, you know, I always want to see him do well. And he's done a lot for me in my life. But for whatever reason, there was apparently a falling out. But anyways, I got to see him the other weekend, and he came up to me about something, and he was like, look, you know, I'm just putting that to the side for a moment, but I want to address this current situation that I'm not cool with, and I want to let you know, regardless of whether you and me or whatever. And I was like, well, I don't even, like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And he told me, you know, that he heard something, you know, whatever. it's petty and it's childish and it's whatever, and he's made a choice and that's okay. And I was like, well, if for some way I misrepresented myself or others misrepresented me, my sincerest apologies. But I love you. Like I'm more hurt that we are at this impasse right now, but like I'm, so when people are like, well, I know what's going on with y'all. I'm like, nothing's going on with y'all.
Yeah.
I say all that to say, I started thinking about, especially after listening to Rick, and I started thinking about I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my kids and I go, conflict resolution. Like, how do you deal with? Because Ben started doing that. Ben started, like, I'd be bringing him to daycare, school, or picking him up or whatever, and he, my friends didn't want to play with me. Like, what do you mean your friends? Because as kids, I want to listen to everything they say, but I also want to kind of sift through, like, what's the emotionalism and all that.
Were they just busy doing something else, or did they straight up
Because
say,
if Ben gets
no,
in
Ben,
trouble and I
go
send him
away."
to his room and he, like, cries and squeals and, like, loses it, what's funny is 5 minutes later he's like, hey, Dad, so I know things are so temporary, but
Sure.
I started thinking about that conflict resolution. What does that look like? How do I handle it? Do I handle it in a way that is healthy in front of them? Do they go? Because I know, dude, there was things, the way my dad handled conflicts a lot of times, I don't want to continue that, but it had me thinking, because I want my kids to have healthy, tools.
That's such a good thought topic. Because is that not like one of, I mean, like that's what you just talked about with you and your butt. Like, that's so common, unfortunately.
It is.
Whatever it is, whether it's pride, whether it's, I don't want to pride, basically, like, I don't want to admit my faults, or, I'm not saying sorry till you say you're sorry, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, you say that about Ben, and it's funny because this is one of those things that, like, we've had some experience with, just with her being in school for the last 2 years and interacting with different kids. And then, like, in her 2-year-old class, it was majority girls and, like, 2 boys. And then this past year in her 3-year-old class, it was 50-50, and it was only a couple maybe of the same kids from her so it was like all new kids and different play group and whatever. And, like, she's still at that point, and at this point, still, like, trying to learn how to function within her little tribe of her peers. And so now it's a whole different set of kids. And there were times where she would come home and she'd, such and such didn't want to play with me, or such and such was playing with such and such and they didn't want to play with me. And you bring up the point about how do I handle conflict, because this is something, like, Jamie and I are so different in the way that we handle conflict individually, and that shows in our marriage, that shows in our friendships outside of each other, that shows in our friendships amongst each other, that this is going to be something very interesting for us with getting on the same page moving forward with teaching Julia how to resolve and handle conflict. Because I'm not aggressive. I wouldn't say I'm aggressive, but I, like, also am not going to take shit, like, if you don't want to play with me, I'm going to be like, what's your problem, dude? Like, why don't you want to, what did I do to you?
Right.
And it's not, I'm not knocking Jamie at all, but, like, I'm the one that wants to talk about it. I'm the one that wants to have one more thing to say. I'm the one that wants to know why you don't have anything to say. Like, you mean to tell me we're bickering right now and you don't have shit to say about, like, I'm the one that wants to, and she's a lot more, okay, Brandon. And I'm just like, I know you don't really feel that way, though. That wasn't like a sincere, okay, Brandon. That was just like, I don't want to deal with. So, like, I'll dive headfirst into conflict. She tends to avoid conflict. And then at some point, we'll come back around and resolve it. But it's interesting because, I mean, Julia's going to get, and Brady, they're going to get their examples of how to handle it from us. Most of the time, how we handle it in front of her amongst, with each other.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's difficult to really see in the moment clearly. Like, you don't see yourself real well when you're, like, wanting to just scorch the earth. But
Skeeted me again. Gleeked me.
But I tend to find myself, because now don't get it twisted. I'm very like a man of principle in a sense of like, now you feel this way, okay, I'm willing to talk about it. I'm like, you're not like, my pillow's soft.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I sleep good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can't hurt me.
Right.
Not talking to me or us not resolving it hurts me more than anything. But after that, like, if you want to be whatever, that's fine. But I do have certain principles of like, also, if people start taking sides or whatever, and I'm like, that's not how I rock.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I don't rock in an exclusive
Right.
neighborhood, you
Right.
know, like I'm an inclusive kind of guy.
Yeah.
And if you're not, that's cool, but trust me, I'm not going to volunteer. You know, I'm not going to volunteer to be excluded.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And what will happen is that when it comes to me and Courtney, because that's where it all happens, right? Like, a lot of the stuff happens in the home.
Yeah.
So that's where they get a lot of their.
Right. Right.
When there's something between me and her, this ain't like, oh, well, you don't like it, okay, you just won't talk to me. No, bitch, we live together. Like,
Yeah.
it's
In a couple hours, we're gonna be sleeping next to each
right.
other.
There's like,
Maybe
there's
or maybe
no.
not.
I mean, you know, like, there is no.
Yeah.
You know, like, we can't ghost each other. We can't.
Yeah.
So how do we resolve? And I am a like a hard launch. Here's the worst thing about Courtney. If you want to know like what Courtney does, that just makes me want to just like, you know, and this is probably gonna like catch a charge or something, but like want to just throw her through the wall.
Yeah.
Is little.
Yeah.
I'm serious. She just laughs. She laughs.
Oh,
She just, because she's the kind of person, but like, that's who she is. Like, she's the kind of person who, like, if we got into a major like fatality involved car wreck, she'd be laughing.
Interesting.
She's the kind of person who, like, she sees trauma and she laughs. She like everything. And I don't know, like, that's a
song, Bare Naked Ladies. I'm the kind of got that laugh set up,
funeral, right? You know, right? Like, I wear my mind on my sleeve. I have a tendency to lose my shirt.
Yeah.
So she has, and I don't know, like, I don't know that it's like because of some childhood thing. That's probably just part of her personality.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'll be like, dude, this is not okay. And like, you ever looked at somebody and you're like, I don't care how petty, I don't care how ridiculous you think, but like, I'm trying to tell you, like, this is a boundary. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, this is not okay for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you doing this is not okay.
Yeah.
It hurts me. It harms me. Whatever. But like, I am not okay with this.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but this is not okay. Like, I need you to recognize that so we don't fall into this pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you not like? I am so serious right now, and it bubbles.
Yeah.
You know. And so you're looking at your kid and you're like, I'm picturing how to make her stop laughing, you know?
Do you think though that like, and this is going to sound borderline like arrogant. I don't know. You and I are very like well calculated, thought out, wordy people. And I feel like for me, there are times where Jamie just needs me to shut up so she can process what I'm actually upset about before she can even like come up with a response.
Say less.
I don't give her that chance a lot of times.
Say less.
I'm like, what do you say? Respond. Say something back to me.
She's the same, because she's like, do you understand that like you fire at 1,000,000 miles a minute?
Yeah.
She's like, I am trying to circle back to the first thing that you said. And I get it. I can go on like tangents or whatever.
Sure.
But it just, I'm a very, like, detrimentally, you know,
Right.
the detriment, to my detriment, I don't think sometimes before I
I
speak.
see it in my pants.
However, at the same time, I'm very quick. I don't need, it is the epitome of like, what do you want to eat, or whatever.
Mhm.
And we always end up circling back to like, and I'm going, why didn't you just say that?
Yeah.
Why? Because you're so concerned, and like she laughs, she thinks it's funny, and I'm going,
Yeah.
you talk about me, you know how much time we just wasted, and you could have
Yeah.
just said what you wanted. Like, I don't care, I'm down, like
right,
whatever. Like
right.
you want me to make a decision? Boom, here it is. Let's go.
That's another thing too that I think about, like that I think I've said it out loud a couple times before, but like I don't like. There's no tricks behind what I say either. Like there's never like an ulterior meaning.
That's
I'm
like
like
the most.
I don't have the capacity to do that. Like I don't care enough. So like when I say something, like I'm saying exactly what I mean. And I may have to come back and be like, I didn't necessarily mean it that, but like for the most part when I'm saying it, like
And that's what I mean by my pillow
I'm
being
very
soft.
specific, and
Yeah.
I'm very. It's just like there's no. It
I'm
shouldn't.
not sitting in
shouldn't
a
think about it
room
that much.
twisting my mustache trying to okay,
Yeah.
when we get together I need to be, because that was
Mhm.
the kind of stuff that messed me up though.
For sure. For sure.
I was staying up trying to plan responses.
Yes.
You know, when I was younger, like that
yeah,
was the kind of screwed up
absolutely.
mentality that I had to work on. Dude, I don't want to live that way today.
No.
So it's like, it's real funny when I get approached in any way,
Yeah.
whether it was with my buddy, with Courtney, anybody, people at work, sometimes like, well, I kind of thought you were like that. And I'm like, let me get something
Yeah.
straight for you real quick. I'm clocking in and clocking out. I'm hoping to do a really good job while I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
I-
That's it.
I
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like,
had a buddy at work, but he was like, one of the biggest problems we have these managers meetings, because one of our biggest problems, I know each and every one of us, we go home and all we do is talk about this place. And I was like,
never once, not me.
nope. I was on the beach, I promise you, and I didn't think about y'all not in there one time.
Yeah. No, dude. I mean, but it is. It's like I do. I think so. There.
And kids are sponges. Like,
They are.
feel energy.
Well, you know what's funny? What did I just say? What does Jamie normally do? Okay, Brandon. So last night, was it? No, yeah, last night, Julie and I, Jamie and her thing, we're eating Chick-fil-A. We did it at the house because I got home late. So I picked it up on the way home. We eat at home. And Julia, and now I get it. I've talked about it on here before with the choking on the puff incident, and I've gotten drastically better, but I'm probably going to tell her to chew her food all the way until her wedding. Her husband's going to be like, back off. So she's like, shoveling French
It'd be
fries.
so gangster if you're like feeding her at her wedding. Like,
That'd be borderline creepy at that point, I think, right? I yell, hey, smaller, cut that cake, smaller bite, please. Randall or whatever your name.
good luck, Randall.
Anyway, so dude, she's shoveling French fries in her mouth at the speed of sound, like the fries have legs and are gonna run away to go compete in the Olympics or something stupid like that. And I said, Julia, baby, like slow down. Like you have so much French fry in your mouth right now. And she chews and she swallows and she finishes and she goes, Dad. And she calls me Dad, pisses me off like nothing else. Like I'm still Daddy or Dada, not Dad. And she goes, Dad, I'm 4 now. Like I'm on my way to being a grown up, and I can eat like you eat because you're a grown up and you eat fast. And I'm like, I eat fast because I have PTSD from Paris Island when I only had 30 seconds to eat a tray of food for the day, and that's why I eat fast. You can eat slow and enjoy your food. And I was like, by the way, like you're not a grown up either, like you're not a baby, but you're a big girl, but you're not even a teenager, and you don't want to be a grown up yet because you got to work and you got responsibilities and you got bills to pay. And I'm like lecturing her, on life over a couple of French fries that she ate too fast. And I get done, and she goes, "Okay, Dad," like that. And I was like, bro, that's Jamie Jr. I mean, dude, the amount of times that she does Jamie stuff, I mean, she does a lot of me stuff too, for sure. I think her like violent outbursts are from watching me because sometimes I just kick shit. The dog. I'm just kidding. I don't kick the dog. PETA won't be a sponsor, I guess. But they are, dude. They're sponges, and like sometimes I wonder if Jamie's reaction to conflict, and look, I'm saying conflict like we're talking about Operation Iraqi Freedom. I just mean disagreements. I just mean it's been a long day. We're overwhelmed. Somebody's got to get the kid in the bath. what's the most efficient way to get the night done so he can go to bed and start it over tomorrow? You know, like just your typical daily stuff that every single one of us deals with on a regular basis. Any major conflict, which is few and far between, doesn't happen in front of her, you know? But I almost feel like the way that she just naturally responds to any kind of conflict like that is probably in Julia's best interest. Like, I don't necessarily want her shutting down and not standing up for herself, but I also don't want her popping off at the mouth to everybody and anything that disagrees with what she's thinking, which
Better learn to
is
get
what
them
I do.
quick hands.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's my thing. I'm like, punch that kid in the mouth if he doesn't want to, you know, like, teach him a lesson. Like, I'm put you in jujitsu. And because she's a girl, I'm like, punch that boy. Like, you're gonna be the innocent one. You're the girl. You know, use that to your advantage. But
Something Rick was also saying was like getting his kids into sports and all that. And so I was like, definitely like the age that, you got Julia in soccer and things like that. Like, I know Ben's at that age. We're probably in the next year, we're wanting to put him in something.
yeah, frisbee, ultimate frisbee golf.
Let's go.
Frisbee golf.
Let's go. We're gonna get all the discs. But I do, because like Rick was saying, and I know we've said it a ton of times in different episodes or whatever, but I think team activities, team building, sports, anything that makes you have to deal with other individuals, because that's the other thing. Ben is an only child, and I recognize it. I see it, because he has an older sister who is 11 years older than him, and she is at that age where I remember distinctly, my sister was 9 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
That 2 years isn't that big of a deal, but it can be different.
Yeah.
Because, like, legit, he was born and she was going into middle school.
Right.
And, she's a sophomore in high school now.
Yeah, I would have to imagine, like, the cuteness of a baby brother is probably not so cute anymore.
She, at the beach, played with him in the sand, and she has gotten better about, because I've brought it to her attention. And I don't try to do it, like, in a mean way, but I'm like, she'll go and like mess with his hair, and he'll go, stop, and she'll go, God, what's his problem? And I'm like, because you don't play with him. You understand why he always crawls up in my lap or always wants to go sit by mom?
Yeah.
But like, you come around, he just looks at you like you're weird, because you held him for about 6 months, and after that you kind of like, you were too cool for school. Like, that's just gonna, and I have that experience. Like, I have the like surrogate mother,
Right.
who then later like found me to be a burden, and then she left. And I'm like, you got to understand, like, that's coming. Because whatever you do, college, whatever, but, like, you will move out eventually.
Right.
And, like, to a kid who doesn't have, like, depth perception, like, the idea of, like, down the street is not another country.
Right.
You could move down the street. You could go to live in an apartment right down the road. But to him, Sissy's gone.
Right.
And it's like this whole, so I see him really as an only child in a lot of ways, and I recognize it. And there's that fear, because like he does, it's like, well, he's got this little toy police car. It's my police car. No, it's mine. It's mine. And I'm like, bruh, all right, we got to work on this.
Yeah.
You're gonna get demolished when it comes time to share. Like, and really share. I don't mean like learning that sharing is caring. I'm talking about like when you got to share a partner, when you got to have a life with somebody. Like, these are the things you're gonna have to.
Yeah. Well, it's man, I saw something the other day. I don't even know if it's relevant anymore now that I'm thinking about what it was. But all of these little, it's such a good. It's just not something that I've like consciously thought about, But so I don't remember who it was, but I heard it or read it in a book or listened to it somewhere, and it's stuck with me ever since. That like, and maybe I've said it on here, so if I've repeated myself, we know I'm notorious for that. I apologize. But like, either we as parents are going to discipline our children or society is going to discipline them, and it's a lot more harsh on them if society does it. And so like you're saying, like, yeah, like the conflict in a 4-year-old preschool classroom, it's like, whatever. Like, even on the playground, semi-unsupervised or something, like, they're going to figure it out. The teacher is right around the corner, but like, like, I want to teach you to stand up for yourself and express your emotions in a healthy way and not be afraid of conflict, but not be infatuated with it either, like not be not romanticize it, because you do have those people, that whatever, you're looking for a fight, or the people that are just so used to conflict and chaos that their life is empty without it. Like, I don't want that for you. That's not a way to function in society as a 30-year-old person. And all of these little things do add up. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, maybe not. And I've mentioned this before, like maybe not off the bat with Brady coming, because she's so excited, and she's gonna be bummed when she realizes like he's not hers, and like she can't do everything, like and but she's just super excited about that. But like I do think about it's gonna be a 4-year difference, not 9 or 11, or I mean, and I'm 12 years older than my youngest brother. We're a lot more alike though, so he, whether he admits it or not, I think he did look up to me just from until I went through my dark days, and then he despised me, and now I think he looks up to me again. So it's cool. But you know, when Julia's 11 and Brady is 7, I wonder how annoyed they're going to be with each other. And then 16 and 12, or 18 and 14, like she'll be a senior when he's a freshman, and then she'll go to college, and it's just it'll be an interesting dynamic, and I think that will help also teach them a lot about resolving conflict, on how to do it within their own little young people world.
Yeah, because all I really had after I was about 8 or 9 was my parents.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, because from that point forward, like my sister and I had nothing in common until about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was 25, 30 years old that we really could like get on an emotional. I mean, she was married with kids and a career. I was like in and out of college, trying to figure my way through the world. I just, and now we can sit like at a beach, and in which we did. We had really great.
That's right. She went with y'all, huh?
Yeah, we had really great conversations. We talked a lot.
Awesome.
We talked a lot about just I was amused and entertained at the idea that a lot of what maybe gave us grief and conflict was a lot of the COVID and the political whatever that was going on at that time. And now we're in a much better place, and we really enjoyed ourselves, and we're really great. But there was a lot of like there was a lot of discussion about the current political climate and Twitter and all. And I'm going in my mind, so why do we keep talking? Like in my mind, I'm going, like, why don't?
Yeah.
But I want you to see this tweet, and I'm going.
Yeah.
I think we've seen this movie before.
Yeah, let's just talk about like, look, they're building a sandcastle.
Yeah. But
watch out for the sharks.
It is. It's only until now, like with kids and a wife, that we really have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And so it is something that I think about with Ben that worries me, but also the home I was in versus the home he's in, and that's what I hope is different. But I when I think of conflict resolution, I think that's we're talking about building blocks for later on. That's the whole deal, because he's going to get his heart broke. He's. I mean, we're going through that with Aubrey. I mean, she's a full-fledged teenager. She's going to be 16 in 6 months. She's going to be, footloose and fancy-free. High school. She's living, and of course, like you talk to most teenagers, like maybe right now this is like, oh, it's just so much, and I want to be like, stay here as long as you can.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know that she's experienced like major heartache yet.
Yeah.
She will.
Yeah.
And all this. And it's always, that's, I look at me and my buddy and I go, man, like, I hope that neither of my kids ever have to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I know, like, you'll have fallen out with friends or whatever, and I know heartbreak's going to come. But, like, how do you deal with conflict? How do you also, like, internalize and are able to, like, go, hey, like, that's them.
Right.
And,
Right. I have a question that I'm interested to hear what you're. Okay, so you have Ben. you're a man, Ben is a boy. Ben will, grow older and be a teenage boy at some point. Do you think there is ever a time, boy or girl, I guess, but like I'm just thinking specifically boys, like where physical violence is okay in a conflict resolution?
Between he and I?
No, him
Okay.
and peers, him
Because
and
I'm like,
other
hey, if
people.
he ever wants a shot at the title,
Nah,
I mean, come at the old man.
dude.
No,
Like, what are your thoughts?
so I want my son. It's crazy. So my big thing, right? I'm gonna go on a tangent.
I'm
My
here.
big thing always, right, with my kids and with him especially, is I'm always like, I love you. You know daddy loves you, right? Don't worry. Like I will never hurt you. I will always be here for you, like no matter what. Like I'm just constantly,
Mm-hmm.
constantly going out into the ocean, right? Like apparently last year he was not feeling it. Remember, I didn't go last year.
Mm-hmm.
This year he's like, I'll hit when he wants me to hold him, when he wants me to pick him up, I want to hold you. so and I picked him up and I'm like, don't worry. And he's like, I do waves, and I'm like, I got you. Daddy's never gonna you will never. And he's like, all of a sudden over the last 2 weeks, this has started to happen. Now he'll also say like, Dad, I love you. And I'm like, that melts my heart because he's, I think, reciprocating, repeating, whatever, which is great because I want him to think and feel like that. But he started saying recently, about 2 weeks ago, and he does it kind of randomly, but pretty often. Dad, I love you. I love you too, buddy. No, I love you. I'm not going to hurt you. And it's like this thing that it breaks me open inside because as a man, I think there's this idea, and kind of talked about it on the episode with Rick, but like this macho machismo part that's like, I've got to always be strong. And I don't mean like I have no emotion, but this like I've got to be strong. I have to be, square jawed and all. Yeah. And because the moment you show weakness is the moment they can get you. Right. And I can go and pull out a litany of stories or reasons from my childhood or whatever of why I feel that way. There's plenty of therapists that can give you the paperwork. But the idea that my son at almost 4 years old is saying, I love you and I won't hurt you is all I care about.
Yeah.
Because I think that means that he understands that to hurt others is not okay.
Yeah.
That to defend yourself and those you love will always be necessary.
Right.
No matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's a big difference between going and whatever, looking for a fight. Because look, I ran with guys like that.
Sure.
Some of them are in prison today.
Yeah.
For life. Like that's the way they, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between that because that probably comes with a whole lot of childhoods. There's a lot of history there that maybe needs to be unpacked. And the difference of like mild-mannered, calm, loves those that he loves and wants to be what he needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I will fucking murder you if you ever think about trying to hurt these people in my life.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the that sensitiveness, like that awareness to be like, I love you and I'll never hurt you, Dad. Like, bro, I'm like, if you're gonna live on that plane, I'm riding that melt as long as you are. So that I guess I say all that to say like I don't want him to go looking for violence, but to know that this is the way you want to live. However, I want you to be as Shaolin as possible, man.
That's well, and that's I mean, May, because my thoughts align exactly with yours. That's and I can speak from like personal experience of, like I mean, I was the big brother, so like I carried that alpha-ness with me throughout. And like I wasn't necessarily like I had a temper and I popped off at the mouth and I like I was physically smaller. I didn't grow until I was 17, 18 years old. And so like I was
I didn't
for
grow till about 5 years ago.
I meant vertically. Um but like I did like I was just a little kind of like a shithead. I was not one of those dudes that like, I think about growing up, especially in high school, being at tailgates and stuff on Saturdays, and like there were just, I could still name them today by first and last name, the guys that like you just didn't want to cross paths with because they were looking for fights. They were looking. One of them is a very close mutual friend of ours, but anyway, like I don't want Brady to be that at all. Like I do want him to be very,
Right.
I mean, and then like you listen to anybody who's like, and I ask that question because like I I have that mentality. Like I will let you dog cuss me up and down and not lay a hand on you until you lay a hand on me or mine. And then, and there's a man, I may butcher it slightly, but General Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, is Marine Corps general. He's got an old saying that says something along the lines of "Be polite, be respectful, but have a plan to kill everyone you meet." It's one of my favorite quotes in the history of the world. But yeah, because I don't want him, because again, these formative years setting him up for the rest of his life, like I don't want him, like Rick was talking about, like I don't want him to be bullied in the workplace as an intern. I don't want him to be, and granted there are certain, you join the military, you're going to be a boot and you're going to get shit on for a while until you outrank your bootness. That's part of the tribe, there's environments like that. But like I also, and the same for Julia, like I don't want her running around beating people up either, but like, as a girl is a little bit scarier. I feel like, like I want her to physically know how to defend herself.
Absolutely.
I did a inspection a couple months back for actually, and I didn't know it until we got there, but it was an old high school teacher of mine, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu now. He was like, "Bro, you need to put your daughter in jiu-jitsu." And he was like, "Gymnastics, great. Dance, great. Soccer, great. But a pirouette is not going to get some 13-year-old boy off of her." And I was like, "Oh, man." So I'm like, toddler jiu-jitsu classes, I'm looking it up and whatever. But no, I was just curious because, I mean.
Well, I think that's I definitely want Ben to like probably, because I think jujitsu, Brazilian jujitsu, like
so good for,
and it's very healthy for him, and I do, I think that's good, and I want him to have that. I was a little brother, and I was a little brother who was very little, was much younger, and didn't feel like he could help, defend, like he wished he could have. I was a little brother who ended up very angry and had a lot of stuff that, later on had to be hashed out or whatever. But I think creating an environment where conflict resolution, learning how to settle things, learning how to talk diplomatically, whatever, learning how to separate principle and personality, how to say that's them and not me, and, whatever. But also having my kids understand, because that's the other, again, the only thing that worries me now about Aubrey today, give me a couple years when she's driving and having to go out into the world more, I'll probably have more fear. But like the only thing that worries me today now, because she's not 4, she's almost 16, is driving. That just, I can't control the other drivers.
Sure.
I'm not too worried about her with boys or like what she for the most part has like really made me feel secure and safe and like her decision making.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Like I want her to be a kid. I want her to go and try to be a kid, you know.
Sneak out of the play.
But yeah, but like I'm just not that concerned with like her physical well-being. She
Right.
seems to be smart enough to put herself well-lit areas with plenty of
Yeah.
people. She doesn't, you know.
Well, and that like, you know, all
I get
of,
it. If she was 4, I'd be like, oh, God, I got her whole like
right,
future in
and
my
that,
head.
yeah, that's what I was thinking is, you know, like I'm nowhere near, you know, I'm afraid of things that are 10 years from now, and it's like I'm confident that, you know, between Jamie and myself, you know, my mom, you know, I mean, she's around enough aware and, you know, people that by the time she's Aubrey's age, yeah, I'm sure I'll have more proof to, you know,
If you've
more,
laid the foundation, man.
right, right,
And that's the thing,
yeah,
having those open conversations. I'm a big proponent of conversation.
yeah,
You know, making sure. And look, it's really weird with a girl, especially when she's your stepdaughter.
mhm.
But like it is, there comes a point where, hey, she's talking to mom more than she's talking to me. Probably best because there's probably
Probably.
some things I don't want to
Yeah,
talk about.
yeah,
But like also, like I need her to like if she feels uncomfortable, but she finds safety and comfort here, then
Mhm.
good. Because I need her to always feel that she got at least one of us.
I still, no matter what happens at the end of the day, I don't think I will die a happy man unless I recreate the scene from Bad Boys where all my homies are in the garage when her prom date comes to pick her up. You know,
That poor kid, man. You got to think about it. I mean, you know, dude's just trying to show
he's
up.
just,
and-
yeah. He could you imagine my ragtag group of friends sitting there, old Frank and a wife beater bench pressing. He's gonna hear that and be like, "Why am I in the wife beater bench pressing?" Love you, Frank. Frank helped me move my fridge the other day. He just yanked that thing out the wall. But anyway, I don't know. I guess it's time to close, isn't it?
Mhm.
Right around it. Y'all had a good time at the beach, though. Otherwise,
Bro, it
Kids had
was
fun.
man, it was fire, dude. It was everything. It was everything I needed.
yeah,
That I will say, it was everything I needed. Dude, it's hard to explain. Like, I think it's never that like I'm mad that I took a vacation because like trust me, I'm
Yeah.
super stoked. There's also like the sense of like sometimes the vacation I want is just away
yeah,
to do nothing.
yeah,
I don't want to have plans. I don't want to have to.
yeah.
All right, we got to go to the beach and then we got to
Right.
come back and we
Want
need
an
to have
itinerary.
yeah, which we didn't do a lot of. But there was like I'm ready to get home.
Yeah, I get
Kind of
that
like
too.
you know I'm ready to just get home because guess what? I'm familiar with all this here.
Right.
Just sit at my own house and what you know.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was like I said, man. I didn't get to go last year and being with them. Courtney got some really great pics and vids.
Nice.
And you know, my dad was there. You know, and he is 82 years old, and he'll be 83 in November. And you know, I'd like to think we'll do this next year and the year
Yeah.
after that and the year after that. But
Yeah.
you know, I was really glad that he was there.
That is cool.
So we'll go to lunch on Thursday, and
Keep on keeping on.
yeah, man.
It was good. I'm glad y'all had fun. I was jealous. I'm still a little bit jealous. We won't really get a vacation till next year, but that's okay. You know?
Well, you won't.
No. I won't. I know people who will. I know people who are currently on vacation.
Right. And that's, you know.
That's okay. Jamie, we were watching the last week's episode, and when I said something about my family being at the beach, but I'm not, she was like, "Sorry." I'm like, I was at least probably more than 60% involved with the reason that we're not going to the beach this year. Like, let's not forget. Like, you probably have a bellyache. I probably talked you into it. You know, here we are. And you're super pregnant. We're not going to the beach. That's usually how it goes down. But anyway,
Darn.
shucks. Victory again for the dad squad. But, well, cool. closing thoughts?
I just hope that my kids. I hope as far as my kids go, I represent myself in the world in a very transparent but positive way.
Same. This has been one of those episodes that it's not every episode, but it's a good bit. But this is definitely one that I'm going to leave here being more conscious of how I resolve conflict on a day-to-day basis. In general, for practice, and in front of Julia, for sure, because we are the ones teaching her.
Such a small time on this rock.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. And by rock, he means earth, people. The round one, not the flat one.
Like a donut.
Like and subscribe. Do you think we should...
We're taking some time.
We're going to take some time. This is episode 25. We are going to take a couple of weeks off to refresh, reboot, recenter. Come back better and stronger than ever, dude. Everyone loves a comeback. Death of Slim Shady. Shout out, Everyone loves a good comeback.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
I think it'll be good for sure. Yeah. Happy week.
Yeah, man.
Happy week.
Yeah. This one's for you, Damon. I love you, brother.
Congratulations, buddy. Learn from me. Do it once. Don't do it twice. Get it right the first time.
Same. That's why I waited till I was
Or don't.
40.
The second time's even better. So maybe, whatever. Don't take marriage advice from someone like me. Love you, Ken. Love you.
Later.